This is a rookie mistake, but I understand why a lot of people might want to do this. This mistake, I don't even know how much it costs me. It's either in the hundreds of thousands or in the millions. What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel, the best place for new coaches, content creators, and entrepreneurs. In today's video, let's talk about mistakes, specifically mistakes that cost me a lot of money and also a lot of opportunity. Now, obviously at any stage that you're at, whether it's in your business or in your life, mistakes are pretty much inevitable, but I really hope that by sharing some of the most expensive mistakes that I've made, that'll help you save some money, save some time, and also fast track your first, second, third, or fourth year in business, whatever year you're at. Now, on top of that, I also want to let you guys know that I'm offering an ebook for a limited time only that covers 50 more mistakes and lessons that I learned in my first year of business. And for those of you who are new to my channel, in my first year of business, I made over $500,000. And now in my second year of business, we now own a multiple $1-million company. And for that very first year, I made a lot of mistakes. And so I documented the first 50 most important lessons and mistakes that I made in this ebook. So make sure you click the link in the description box or in the comment section below to snag this ebook right here. This video, however, I'll give you 5 more mistakes that I made that are super expensive mistakes that I know you can definitely avoid doing yourself. So if you're interested, then let's keep watching. All right, let's talk about the first mistake. And this specific mistake cost me over $30,000 of missed opportunity and is a mistake that I know a lot of newer coaches, consultants, service providers are making. Basically anyone who works with clients. And that is allowing your clients to book you whenever they want. Now, first off, let's cover what this actually looks like. What this basically means is when you are working with clients, sometimes what service providers will do, specifically coaches and consultants, they'll give a booking link that has access to their calendar. And what they'll do is they might say something like, hey, here's the link to book time with me, and you can just book whenever you feel ready or book whenever you want. This is a rookie mistake, but I understand why a lot of people might want to do this. And that is the fact that you want to appear flexible to your client and you don't want to pressure your client to book time with you if they aren't ready. But here's what ends up happening. When a client books you whenever they feel like it, you then lose immediate visibility on the schedule that you have with that client. So for example, for me, when I first started working with clients, I offered them a 3-month coaching program. However, because I didn't have good boundaries and I didn't have proper systems and I allowed my clients to book me whenever they felt ready, for a lot of my clients, they didn't book me in the schedule that I thought that they would book me in. So for example, if I'm offering a 3-month program and I have 8 sessions in this program or 12 sessions, and my plan is for them to meet with me weekly or bi-weekly, and they don't follow that schedule, meaning maybe they book me once a month or they book me every 3 weeks or they book me sporadically, then immediately that 3-month program is no longer a 3-month program. And what ended up happening with me is my clients ended up working with me for way longer than 3 months. Some of them worked with me for over half a year. And this produces 2 key problems that are basically costing you a lot of money. Number one, that client, maybe they're paying you $2,000 for 3 months of work. Well, if you give all the power to them to book whenever they want to, and that program then becomes 6 months instead of 3, and you're not putting any boundaries in place, you're not putting any systems in place, or you're not putting any contracts in place to prevent that from happening, then what ends up happening is the fact that you're only getting paid now $2,000 for 6 months of work. So you're missing out on money there. And the second thing is the fact that when you do this, you will have no visibility on when your clients are actually going to be done working with you, and therefore you will not be able to accept new clients if you don't have that visibility. So what this means specifically for my case is I had tons of clients that were booking me whenever they felt like it, and therefore I wasn't able to tell prospects who were interested in working with me when they could start working with me because I had a backlog of clients that weren't done the program yet. And for me, I'm only one person. I can only work with maybe 10 clients at a time. And if you don't have visibility on when this client is going to be done with you, you're not going to be able to welcome new clients into your programs or into your services. And therefore, that's a lot of missed opportunities there. And so what ended up happening with me is I had a handful of prospects that were ready to pay, ready to work with me, but because I didn't have proper systems in place with my current clients, I wasn't able to properly accept them as new clients to my program. So great, you learned about this mistake. Vanessa, what do I do to fix this mistake? Well, there are 3 things that you can do. Number 1 is when you have new clients coming in, immediately try to schedule a recurring time to meet. So for example, you meet client A every Monday at 2 p.m. and then you meet client C every Tuesday at 6 p.m. You want to create a consistent schedule with your clients. And if your clients need to cancel, sure, but at least that's scheduled into your calendar. The second thing that you can do if you aren't able to build a recurring schedule with each client is when you're on a call with a client, before you hop off that call, make sure you're already booking the next appointment. That way, there's no gap in between. It decreases the chances of your clients ghosting you when you start following up with them on when they want to book the next call, and all the other problems that happen when you don't actually get them to book on the spot. And so that's the second thing that you want to do. The third thing that you want to do is the fact that, let's say you're already making this mistake that I made when I first started my business. Well, now start putting boundaries in place. And what this looks like is if your client is kind of nearing the 3-month mark of your program and they're not even halfway done, you gotta look back on your contracts and tell them, hey, the program that you signed up for is a 3-month program. I noticed that we're only halfway there. Here are some options for you to upgrade the program to a 6-month program instead. And then you're gonna be able to present pricing options. So even if that person or that client is going overtime, you're at least getting paid and compensated for the time that you're gonna spend extra simply because this client isn't following the schedule. So those are the 3 really easy options that you can implement in your business that will re-inject back the opportunities that you're missing out on in your business. All right, let's move on to the second mistake. And this mistake cost me over $20,000. So now we're already over the $50,000 mistake threshold. But essentially, this one mistake is something that you might make in your business later on, and that is joining masterminds and joining group coaching programs out of FOMO. And what I mean by FOMO, if you don't know what that means, is fear of missing out. And when you are first starting your business, you might be someone who's really looking up to other people, what they're joining. You want to know who's joining what mastermind, and you want to know who's learning from who and all of that, and you get caught up in that. But oftentimes you can easily forget what your own needs are. And so for me, over the course of my first year and also my second year, I had spent a considerable amount of money joining masterminds and programs because my friends were joining them, or I heard someone from someone that was joining them that I looked up to. And therefore, immediately I thought I needed to join the same thing. And so what ended up happening is I would join the program and I realized for me, it was not a good fit. And that money that I spent on that particular mastermind or that money that I spent on that particular program could have been used somewhere else. Or I had just wished that I took a step back and I actually understood what my own needs were, did my own due diligence instead of looking what everyone else was doing. And here's a funnier story is I actually had joined a mastermind because I had 2 friends that said that they were gonna join, and I took their word for it and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, my friends and I, we're all gonna be in the same mastermind and it's gonna be amazing and I'm gonna learn so much. And so I paid for the mastermind. And then once I joined the mastermind, I noticed that my friends weren't in the mastermind. And I followed up with them and they later said, oh yeah, I changed my mind, I decided not to join. And I was like, what? What? So now I'm in this mastermind without my friends. And so not to say that you need to join a mastermind because of your friends and all that, but the mistake that I made is I made that decision to join the mastermind not because I did my due diligence on the mastermind and I identified that if that was really what I needed in my business, regardless of who was joining in the mastermind, I joined because of peer pressure and because I wanted to follow everyone else. And I ended up, still taking advantage of that mastermind to the fullest of my ability, but I learned a major lesson there of not investing in things out of FOMO. And on the flip side, I've also invested in programs because my friends actually ended up joining them. And I really look up to some of my friends in this online space. But once I joined the program, I realized that this program was not the right fit for what I needed to do in my business. And so then that's a lot of wasted money there that I could have spent somewhere else in my business. I could have used that money to maybe hire a contractor, an employee, or marketing, or Facebook ads, anything. And so that is another example of me joining something and my friends actually joining that too, and people that I look up to joining that program, but then me slowly realizing that the program just totally wasn't a good fit for me. And so based off of these 2 examples that I've shown you, I really hope that moving forward, you make these type of investments with your own mind without the influence of others. Now, obviously it's good to ask for opinions and it's good to see who else is joining and all of that, but you also need to make sure that you're joining things because you want to and because it's a decision that you did a lot of research on yourself, because this online mastermind space, there are some programs that are really great and other programs that aren't, or maybe there's some programs that cost you an arm and a leg. And when you are investing so much of your hard-earned money with this, you got to make sure that that decision is something that you're making for yourself. Now, of course, before I move on to the next mistake though, I also want to add a little disclaimer when it comes to joining masterminds based off of my experience. With masterminds specifically, it's actually pretty important that you vet out and understand who else is in the program, even for group coaching programs, because oftentimes when you are learning in a group, what other people bring to the table can really make or break your experience. And so let's say you are an entrepreneur who's making 6 figures and then you join a mastermind where everyone else is making 4 figures. Their needs and their problems are very different from yours, and you may not benefit a lot from being a part of that mastermind. And so that's just another tip that can also save you a lot of money as well when it comes to making these investment decisions in masterminds and group coaching programs, is you want to do your due diligence and make sure it's the right fit for you, but you also want to get a confirmation from that instructor or that coach or that consultant, whoever it is, on who else is a part of that program, and have that also maybe contribute to your decision making, because especially if you're joining a mastermind, it's really important that everyone in that program is at your level or higher so that they can contribute more to that program and you can contribute and everybody wins. And so that's just one little disclaimer that I want to make to that mistake that I made. All right, moving on to the third mistake, and this mistake costs me hundreds of dollars per month, and this is a mistake that I made in my first year of business, and that is investing in software that was out of my budget. And as I run my own program, the Bossgram Academy, I see this happening all the time. A lot of our newer students, what they'll focus on and what they'll fixate so much of their time on is, what software should I download for my business? Should I download ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, Calendly, Acuity? Should I do this? Should I do that? And my answer all the time is, do whatever fits within your budget. All of these software pieces that you need for your business, as long as they do the basics of what you need, it is good enough. And as you grow in business, as you make more money in business, you can always upgrade your software. So for example, when I first started my business, I thought that I needed the fanciest email marketing service possible. And so I started to pay for a software called Drip. And what ended up happening is Drip was actually really expensive and over my budget, definitely. And so I ended up losing a lot of money, and I didn't even use all of the features because my business was so new that it didn't even need all of the advanced features that I was paying for. And so later on in my business, I then switched to ConvertKit. And ConvertKit for me was a lot more affordable and literally did exactly what I needed to do. And then later on, as I started making even more money in my business, I then switched to ActiveCampaign. And this is what my business uses right now. And by the way, if you want a list of all the software that I use in my business right now, and also when I started, visit www.vanessalau.co/tools, and you'll be able to see a whole list of things, whether you're a beginner or whether you are someone who is scaling up your business. But as you can see, with my experience, I've switched email providers 3 times. And so remember, especially if you are starting out in business, don't stress so much about the software, and always know that you can always migrate software as you grow in business. What's most important is that you stay on budget so that you're not wasting money on features that you won't even use in your first year of running a business. All right, now let's talk about the 4th costly mistake. And this mistake cost me a couple $1,000s. And that is not consulting a certified public accountant before I incorporated my business. So a rookie mistake that I made is I was like, you know what? I'm going to incorporate my business. I want to have a fancy corporation. And so let me go to a lawyer and get that fixed up. And so that's exactly what I did. I immediately contacted a lawyer and filed for my company to become an actual company. And the mistake that I made though is, before seeing a lawyer, you should always see a certified public accountant. When you start a business, a CPA is probably one of the first and most important experts that you're gonna need to have in your corner. And I get a lot of DMs from people being like, I don't know where to start. Google. Referrals or Google. It's really easy to find a certified public accountant, and very similar to what I was talking about with software, you can always fire your CPA if it's not the right fit for you. You can always change CPAs. Even for me, I've worked with multiple CPAs just to find the one that was the right fit for me. But What mattered is that I actually got started with it. And so the reason why you want to see a CPA first before you do any big decisions when it comes to either filing an LLC, corporation, S Corp, whatever it is for you guys, for me, I'm Canadian, so the terms are a bit different, is the fact that a CPA will actually be able to tell you what structure for your company makes the most sense. Something that's really important to remember and oftentimes easy to forget is that each person's tax situation is extremely different. For instance, you might have a different income level than me. You might have different tax exemptions than me. You might live in a different country, state, city, province than me. And that's all going to affect what your CPA is going to recommend to you. There is no one size fits all. And so a mistake that I see a lot of you guys making is messaging me, asking me how my business is set up so that you can copy and paste it without consulting a CPA. A CPA will tell you exactly everything that you need to know and the strategy that you should have for your business that will end up saving you a lot of money. And so remember that you gotta do this. Don't talk to the lawyers, don't talk to anyone, go see a CPA first. Because what ended up happening to me is I didn't talk to a CPA at all. I went to file the things with the lawyer, and it turns out that the way that the lawyer did it was actually incorrect, and I had to spend extra money to fix those mistakes, all of which could be avoided if I talked to the CPA first. Because at the end of the day, the two experts that are really important to have in your corner are the CPA and the lawyer. And these two people need to speak to each other. You can't just cut one or the other out. They need to come together and come up with the strategy for you. And eventually, as you grow in business, you might have a tax advisor, tax attorney, financial advisor, all these things. All these experts need to speak together. But when you're just starting out in your first year of business, a CPA will be your best friend. So make sure you talk to them before you make any big decisions in your business. All right, let's move on to the next mistake. And this mistake, I don't even know how much it cost me. It's either in the hundreds of thousands or in the millions. I really don't know, and I don't want to know. And that is offering lifetime access to my programs. Now, some of you guys might be shocked about this, especially you course creators or anyone, even if you're doing one-on-one program, it might be a shock to you. But over time, what I realized is lifetime access to your offers is really gonna hurt your clients in the long run, and also doesn't allow you to create prolonged customer lifetime value with your customers. Because remember, a client who pays for your services once is really likely to pay for your services again, especially if they enjoyed your service. And so what I did when I first started, because I was insecure about my products and my offers and my own worth, is when I had clients on the sales page, I would literally say, when you become a client of mine, I will give you free lifetime access to any product and service that I create in the future. And so what this ends up happening is multiple negative outcomes. Number one, a client who's paying $2,000 for a 6-month program is now getting my future programs for free. And so I'm not really extending the lifetime customer value of that person. That person who would have spent maybe more than $2,000 now doesn't need to, because I'm giving everything to them for free anyways. The second negative outcome is the fact that this ends up hurting your client's results. What I saw and what I observed is, of all the clients that I gave free access to when it came to my future programs, is that very few of them actually took advantage of it. And the reason why is because it was for free. There was no urgency to take advantage of it, and they didn't value it anymore because it was basically for free. And so that was the huge issue that I encountered. But beyond just giving free lifetime access to all of your future products and services, also giving lifetime access to your existing products, your course, let's say, can also prove to be a problem. And this is something that we tested in our program, the Bossgram Academy. The Bossgram Academy used to be a lifetime access program, and what we found is the fact that people were very slow to implement the things that they were learning in the program, and the completion rates of this program wasn't as high as I would have wanted. However, the moment that we switched to a 12-month access model, we noticed a huge improvement when it came to completion rates, and also when it came to the results that our students was getting. Because now our students know that they only have 12 months to complete the program, and therefore they're not gonna procrastinate. They're not gonna wait for next year to start their businesses. They're gonna start today, because now they know that there is a deadline. And so it's helping our students now. And let me throw up a screenshot to really prove to you that even our students prefer the 12-month access model. And so when you are a course creator, I know it can be really scary to remove lifetime access because you see a lot of other course creators doing that, but I'm telling you right now that you're gonna be able to get better results for your students in your programs. And you're also going to be able to increase the lifetime value that your students have with you. Because now, knowing the fact that your students only have 12 months, if you ever upgrade the program or make significant changes, you can actually charge an upgrade fee. And therefore, you're going to be able to get more skin in the game from your students, and you're also able to make a little bit more money in your business as well, while also getting your students better results. And so it's a win-win for everyone. Now, so far in this video, I have talked about the 5 mistakes in a very surface level way. So that's why if you want to dive in and you want to learn the other mistakes that I've made in my business, because there are over 50 of them, make sure you take advantage of this ebook that I wrote. This ebook is 50 pages long. It does not skimp out, and it has 50 mistakes and 50 lessons that I learned in my first year of business that will help you guys save so much money and make your business so much more efficient, especially if you are in your first year. So definitely check the link in the description box or in the comment section below to snag this ebook while it's still here. On top of that, while you wait for next week's video, I post a lot of videos on entrepreneurship, social media, coaching, marketing, and all the likes of that. So make sure you check out these 2 videos that I have here as well. As always, guys, I appreciate you. I hope you guys have a great day, a great week, and a great life, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys!